I'm Yisrael out there, here with my brother, my first chevruta, actually,
Yep.
Rabbi David Baum, who's rabbi in Boca Raton at Congregation
Shari Kodesh.
Share Kodesh. And Rabbi Baum is here. I can call you Dave, right?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
yeah.
going to call you Dave. David is here in Israel. You are leading a group of rabbinic fellows.
Yeah, so this is with Sinai Temple and JNF, LaFell Foundation, Singer Foundation. It's a new fellowship, 3 years old, to bring rabbinical students from Reformed, Conservative, Orthodox institutions, as well as non-denominational rabbinic seminaries to Israel. But it's also, they learn from Israeli experts, security experts, experts on society, what's happening in Israeli society, and it's a year-long process, and it culminates with this trip. And the amazing thing is, these students have not been together till this moment.
Wow.
They've only been on virtual, but the bond that they have since I just joined them on day one, you thought that they were close friends for years.
Amazing.
And I think it's a testament to Israel and the power that it can bring Jews together in an amazing way.
It's amazing. We're sitting here in Tel Aviv, Israel. We just had lunch and we've been talking about what's happening here in Israel on so many levels, politically, socially, the military, war, Gaza, hostages, and there's so much going on, and the Jewish world at large. And it's amazing to see this diversity of rabbinical students, future rabbis in study, coming here to Israel. Why is this fellowship come together, and why is it happening now? What's the significance of and coming to Israel together? What does this mean?
So I think that during the judicial reform, there was a lot of
the judicial reform
protest a couple of years ago. It probably started from that, in a sense, to seeing Israeli society kind of really be in conflict with each other, and American Jewry, Jewish America, kind of being a part of that conversation very much. Israelis were reaching out to American Jewry for support, and American Jewry didn't know quite how to handle it, and but then October 7th happened, and that really changed everything. And I think it really did change
shook things up.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And kind of, there's like a cloud, and it kind of, I think, for a lot of people, made things clear.
Wow.
About the challenges that we have, especially with Zionism.
Right. And it sounds like it's almost like a reclamation, like a reclaiming. We were talking before, and you talked about how, you said, I'm a Zionist.
Yeah.
And I think we need to speak that loud and clear. And as rabbis out there, irrespective of whatever denomination or, approach to Jewish life we might have, you were like, we need to stand proud and reclaim, and that's who we are. And so why now? Mm-hmm. Why is it so important to reclaim it? And what does Zionism mean to you?
Yeah. So I want to explain, I gave a sermon about this after I came to Israel last year. Actually, it was after October 7th, I'm sorry. And it was the first high holidays after October 7th. And I spoke about Zionism. Rabbis in America have been shied away from talking about Israel because it could be a controversial topic, upset people. One of the things that you and I both are big believers in is Jewish peoplehood. And I think for many years it wasn't very popular to talk about it. We were very divided. Everyone has their own identity. But October 7th cleared things up, at least for me, in a sense of the importance of Jewish peoplehood. Not just in Israel's important, not just the land, but because half of all Jews live here. And that's why it's so important for Jewish America and Israeli Jewry to learn from each other, to come together. And when I spoke about Zionism, I said we need to start using that word. Not necessarily pro-Israel, not anti-Israel, because that's like a government thing. You don't like the government of Israel? I even said it. Okay, you don't like the government? Fine.
Sure.
But every Jew can find themselves, almost every Jew can find themselves on the spectrum of Zionism. A real moment for me was the rally in Washington. And I kind of came to a realization. There were left-wing Jewish groups that were debating, should we be a part of it or not? And I have to hand it to them. They had a peace block. And I said, but they were inside the gates.
They were in the sandbox.
They were in the sandbox.
With all the kids.
And then you had the people outside, JVP, Neturei Karta, I'm sorry, Jewish Voice for Peace, Neturei Karta, which is an ultra-Orthodox, anti-Zionist, anti-Israel, but anti-Zionist.
Yeah.
Truly anti-Zionist movement. Not non-Zionist, anti-Zionist. So you had the anti-Zionists on the outside, and you had the right-wing Zionists, you had the left-wing Zionists, and we were all together. And I said, this is what Jewish peoplehood is
all about.
And I think that one of the perhaps mistakes we made in the past was saying to some people, your Zionism can't be a part of.
Right.
It can't be a part of it.
Right.
And I think that we need to be able to embrace Jewish people in a nuanced way without sacrificing our ideals. But yeah.
Well, we share a common denominator. And by the way, you see that, for example, today, now in this, Namash, right now, there are the World Zionist Congress elections taking place. Theodor Herzl, if everyone remembers out there, the father of modern Zionism, if you will, who launched the World Zionist movement in 1896-97 in Basel, Switzerland. And since then, there has been this World Zionist Congress. It takes place every 4 or 5 years, and now we're at the 39th World Zionist Congress. And if you've been a delegate or involved in any way in the World Zionist movement, and this will be my 3rd or 4th Congress, you'll see the entirety of Am Yisrael represented there. From those more on the political left of the spectrum to the center, to the right, the less religious, the more religious. We even have Haredi parties. Whoever thought the Haredi were Zionists, but they are represented in the World Zionist Congress as well.
Right.
And so if you're not a part of the conversation, then you're not a part of, I would say, perpetuating or creating history, creating realities on the ground. If you want Israel or whichever entity it is, or Am Yisrael, to reflect your values, you have to be in the conversation. And if you're disengaging and pulling yourself out of that conversation, then it's too bad for all of us. It's too bad for the entirety of Am Yisrael that you're not going to be a part of that conversation. And Zionism, as it was founded in the modern sense, the nation, the national, if you will, movement for sovereignty, here in the land, is for the Klal Yisrael, is for all of Am Yisrael. So I got to tell you, when you start speaking that language, first of all, I get excited because I'm a Zionist. Clearly, I made Aliyah. I'm with my family, of course, and many, many others. And I happen to be also an ordained JTS rabbi myself. I'm probably the chief rabbinate's worst nightmare in this country because I offer a perspective and an approach to Jewish life, practice, and study that many Israelis don't really get to see or experience. I happen to belong to an open Orthodox, if you will, I'll call it minyan, but I'm just a Jew, and I want to be a part of the conversation. This is why I kind of put myself in it, and I'm just so proud, as you being my friend and you being a leader in your community and nationally too, as you're involved with many different nonprofits in the States. It's so important to not just say or tell people what to do, but it's important to show people how to do it and what to do about it.
Yeah.
So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
And so you're now wrapping up this visit here to Israel.
Yeah.
One thing you're taking back with you. What is Rabbi Baum's next sermon going to be on? Or just give us a hint what you might think about talking about next Shabbat when you're at Shul.
It's a good question because we got to start thinking about sermons right away.
That's right.
I hit the ground running right when I get back. I will say there's something in this week's Parsha, Bamidbar. It begins with, it's called Bamidbar, which means in the wilderness, but in English it's called Numbers. Why is it called Numbers? Because there's a bunch of census, which is the plural of a census, that occurs.
I never knew that word, census.
Census.
Never heard.
Yes, census. It's the plural of census.
I thought it might be Sensei.
Yes, I got to thank.
But Sensei is like the martial arts guy.
I guess, yeah, Sensei, right?
Sensei,
exactly.
Whatever it is.
Hold on, go back.
Yeah,
Counting.
Sensei.
All right. So there's this beautiful drasha, explanation, commentary. It gives the exact amount of Jews that were counted.
Israelites,
sorry. Not Jews, you're right, Israelites.
Bnei Israel.
So the Meorei Naim was a well-known Hasidic Rabbi, and others. They have this thing. Why the exact number? And they said because it's like every single letter in the Torah is counted, and if one letter is missing, it's pasul. You can't read from it. Meaning it could be a beautiful Torah, but if the the Bereshit is missing the bet, you can't use it. So they said, so it is with the Jewish people. Each one of us is needed, is necessary for the kind of Torah of Jewish peoplehood. They didn't use that language because whatever, but that's the way that I look at it. And so one of the things that we've talked about is the change in kind of post-October 7th Judaism in America and what we've called the surge of Jews coming back. We've heard stories of anti-Zionist Jews. We've heard stories of Jews protesting. We haven't heard enough stories of the Jews who are coming back to shul. Synagogues across the country are growing in education membership. We have it. I've never had a conversion course. I just did one candidate at a time. Now we have 4 non-Jewish spouses who have been married long-term, 20 years, 15 years, 30 years to their Jewish spouses, who post-October 7th, they now are converting. They're in the process. They're going to be finishing their conversion right before the high holidays. In August, we're going to the mikveh in Florida. And I have to say, they have been my inspiration. Because the love of Jewish people and Torah that they share, that they have in their hearts, can be really a model for the rest of the Jewish world. So it's about the letters, the people that we don't even know should be there, that can be added to it. And we need to embrace Jewish people.
Amazing.
And work with them because we're one big family. This is what I believe. As Jews, we're one big family. We're one nation. You know, we say Am Yisrael Chai, but a family, a nation is just like a big family. And we have disagreements.
We're also Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel.
And so we don't have the luxury of saying I don't agree 100%. You're out. You can't do that. I come from a family of Holocaust survivors. All 4 of my grandparents were survivors. We know the importance of every single life. And in our family, we have people who are across the political spectrum. We yell and scream at each other, and then afterward, we hug each other.
Of course.
That's life.
If you can't argue with your siblings, with your aunts and uncles, have disagreements, then who do you argue with? And then come back together again, like you said, with a big hug, because at the end of the day, we are one family. And you talk about the rise in interest in synagogue, people interested in learning more. And I'm full. We're saying this before, like there's a Jewish Renaissance taking place. The Jewish people, let's call it the Great Awakening. And there's articles out there calling it, the October 8th Jews, if you will. Jonathan Sarna from Brandeis wrote an article. Look it up on JPost. And these are some of the things that I've been talking about. I think that we are in the midst of a renaissance, the Great Awakening that will be talked about in 100, 200 years from now. They might even call it the Great Awakening, where Am Yisrael woke up on a global scale around the world and here in Israel. And as far as I'm concerned, we have the opportunity to redirect course from this space that we're in now of fragility and uncertainty to a future that continues to be hopeful and optimistic and based on and anchored in, instead of baseless hate, baseless love, ahavat chinam, and unity. And that's what Am Yisrael needs. And I look forward to maybe reading your sermon. And for everyone out there, if you don't know, follow Rabbi David Baum. You have a blog that you write?
So I have a podcast, Torah from Boca. Great name, right? And rabbidavidbaum.com. You can check out my writings. I publish in Times of Israel, the local Sun Sentinel, local papers. You can check out.
Read up, follow. And by the way, you know what my podcast is called?
What?
Torah from Sinai. You like that?
But I want to end with one thing. You said, what am I taking away? This was the first time I had been to the South. I was here last year. I didn't have the opportunity to go. And I went to kibbutz Nir Oz, which was arguably the hardest hit kibbutz. The IDF never came there. It was just a tragic story. The Bibas family was there. And the people I met, one of the things that we have to keep in mind, Jewish America, we talked about this before, Lior, you said, Rabbi Sinai.
Lior.
He said, what we're going through in Israel, it's not PTSD. It's not post-traumatic stress syndrome. It's TSD. We're still going through it.
That's right.
There is no post. The war is still happening. Our security guard, this wonderful young man, he's been in the reserves for over 300 days. it means you're away from your family. People in their 40s, their 50s,
businesses
are
shut
away
down.
they're away from their family for a year. I mean, just think about that.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
And so
Hostages still there,
hostages,
suffering every day, tortured.
Was it 29 hostages? We don't know how many are alive exactly.
Well, there are 50 some, 59 or 58, I think it is. But yeah,
where did Rabbi Sinai just met? We were in Hostage Square,
right?
And it's still there,
That's
and
right.
the families are waiting. This country is going through a difficult time. In the Jewish community, we just had a terrorist attack. Right. I was here, ironically, during Washington, D.C. This terrorist attack.
Yeah.
I don't even know how my community is taking it, and I will find out when I get back.
Right.
But it only really strengthens my resolve and my love of the Jewish people.
Wow.
And as you say, I'm Yisrael Chai. Right?
It's not just a slogan. It's a way.
It's a way of life.
I'm Yisrael Chai. It's a way of life. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Rabbi
brother.
Brown. Appreciate you being here. Spread love and light, and it's great to know that we're not alone. We are together in this.
And come visit Israel.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
See you soon. And let me know when you're coming. Bye, everyone.
See you in Boca. Bye.